3, 2, 1. Media Conglomeration and Its Effects to the Digital Consumer by Elijah Pestana. When the average person thinks about the media landscape, they usually think about what they see on the TV screen or in their smart devices, movies, television shows, local news, sports networks, and so on. The viewer only pays attention to the content rather than the production team or media company that works behind the scenes. In the United States, there are over 176 media companies and news outlets that control mainstream media. Of these companies, 6 of them control over 90% of the media outlets in America. This means that these media conglomerates, or multimedia groups, are major producers of media content in the digital space. With only a handful of companies controlling the media landscape, they can have a large sway in the American consumer. If not properly regulated, media conglomeration can have horrible consequences, such as affecting future content that's produced, manipulating the audience consumption of media, and finally jeopardizing an individual's freedom of expression. By identifying how these conglomerates operate and observing certain case studies, we will see how media conglomeration can influence the daily consumer and discover the dangers of media conglomeration towards the small-scale competitor, a digital consumer, and the functioning of our American democracy. What is a media conglomerate? A media conglomerate is a form of corporate conglomerate when a corporation uses its resources to enter various sectors. In layman's terms, a corporation wishing to become a multi-industry company. One big example is Amazon. It's an e-commerce company investing in various sectors of the business world. And in recent years, it's acquiring media and entertainment like Amazon Prime Video. Now, conglomerates can also be known as holding companies, when one company owns parts of a bunch of other companies, and they'll be known as subsidiaries. We could connect this with Walt Disney Company, having stakes in big entertainment networks like 20th Century Fox, Marvel, Lucasfilm, ESPN, ABC Network, you name it. They have a huge hold on a lot of entertainment companies. They work independently while being overseen by the interests of the parent company. With all these companies and their subsidiaries, a large conglomerate has influence to shape a digital consumer's habit and subconsciously the decisions that they make in their daily lives. How a media conglomerate influences a digital consumer. As media conglomerates, these large corporations have a lot of money and influence to go around, being able to advertise and produce more content than their competitors. This may be good for those who only want to consume entertainment, but the way that they affect the producers of media networks and operate in the media landscape is astounding, influencing creators to make content that is focused to only the national and mainstream markets rather than a localized or community programming. Now, when a big-time television company like HBO, now owned by Warner Media, released the show Game of Thrones, production companies attempted to create the next big thing and hopped in the fantasy, sword-fighting, sex-driven soap opera train with shows like Starz Outlander, History Channel's Vikings, and Netflix's The Witcher. They were treading from their off-beaten path in order to capture the attention of the mainstream audiences. One company that places a large social imprint is the Walt Disney Company. The media conglomerate has over 200 media companies under its own belt, with the television channels like ABC, ESPN, entertainment mediums like Marvel Entertainment, Pixar Animations, to owning impressive IPs such as Lucasfilm's Star Wars franchise and the beloved Simpsons family with 20th Century Fox, as mentioned before. This creates a culture where customers associate their childhood happiness with the experience with Disney. And them being a major producer in the family entertainment, they're able to create what's accepted as the model family and catering to the childhood audience, which in turn makes them only think about Disney, the big entertainment company. As large-scale media conglomerates, the media outlet works to protect the company's image and interests with its target audience and competitors. So, any content, whether it's information like a news station or creative like a production company, filters its own information by the owners. It's a form of self-censorship, as explained by Noam Chomsky in his book, Manufacturing Consent. Before the show or news article gets to the consumer, it goes through a pre-production and marketing phase, which could be well perceived by the populace. Any negative response or flack towards the conglomerate is snuffed out by the company's vast resources, like legal teams, public relation firms. These tactics affect the digital consumer as they receive their understanding of culture, news, and entertainment from these large conglomerates of mass media. They rarely find a dissenting opinion or different medium to choose from, as they're only open to know about the mainstream media producers. The dangers of media conglomeration. Media consolidation has some benefits, but there also has negative outcomes for the daily digital consumer and have negative impacts towards society if not properly addressed. Its positive effects concern mainly prosumers and investors. For viewers and consumers of media, they have more choices at lesser price than what other competitors charge, giving their audience to consume popular media in a one multimodal space, like the streaming services that we have now. Those who oppose government control like conglomeration because they would feel more comfortable in a big name company leading advances in technology and entertainment than Big Brother or a government at large. And there's also individuals who wish to invest in media conglomerates because they believe these companies are the innovators and leading the advancement in the medium, placing risks and develop content that is for the betterment of all. In summary, it helps consumers wanting a platform of their favorite blogs, news, and entertainment in a one space. And for shareholders and investors, a successful venture that will never lose profit because it follows the norm. With these benefits, they come with a particular thing. With a large number of media platforms entering streaming platforms, like we mentioned before, media consolidation can impact the originality and creativity of media landscape as parent companies try to churn out as many productions as possible to fill their digital library. Previously, the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, works to protect the public interest in the field of communication and media. One of their tasks is overseeing how much control a large media company has in the market, in other words, media consolidation. In 2005, they relaxed the rules and began a harmful trend where many small companies and media entities were being bought out by these conglomerates. And although having more media companies and new networks in the market in the past, only a few are owned by local providers and controlled by these quote-unquote family and parent companies, only looking to national and mainstream content. These factors play a critical role in our society, as each person uses media in producing the information that they get on a daily basis. With so much content being produced, audiences will wish to go to the conglomerates who have a larger collection of content and better production value than other sources of information, entering a one-stop shop where the consumer will receive advertisements, corporate ideologies, and rhetoric that will only give a one side of a particular issue and experience to our consumer. Most conglomerates defend their claim of acquiring media companies by monitoring the ownership as an infringement of corporate speech. Yet this individual who benefits of limiting media ownership and prevents as any company from dominating any particular market. And it makes an informed decision that gives the public a wide selection of differing viewpoints in the free market of ideas, letting democracy and expression thrive. Now, here's an interesting case study. Large media conglomerates have used actually to influence shaping opinion from the public a couple of years ago. In 2018, CNN journalists uncovered the Sinclair Broadcast Group used its vast network of 200 TV stations to broadcast a script where local news anchors repeated the same message to denounce fake news stories from mainstream media to the local audience. Deadspin, a media company, created a video and edited a compilation of all these news stations delivering the exact same script, in which the companies halted their own actual local programming to air this particular video. The issue is that a large media organization is making rhetorical intentions as if it was said by your trusted local journalists, newscasters, to influence what you think. In essence, it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, but instead of eating you, they manipulate the public in the way they want you to think. If one company has that much influence to shape the public opinion, it certainly can affect a citizen's participation in our living democracy. Conclusion. So, it's safe to say, media conglomeration should not be stopped, but rather than monitored with more regulations and oversight. By identifying how media conglomerates influence consumers and seeing its flaws, we can see how a consumer should be more knowledgeable with media they consume. With more content being created every day, users spend about 7 to 8 hours a day with media. They have to be aware of how these media conglomerates operate and have a space where they can comment on bettering the said content. The public should shift the consumption of media companies that are focused in their local communities and toward their personal experiences, or companies that expand the bounds of debate and inform educational topics in an engaging and innovative way. With the power of social media and the advancements in the digital age, audiences of media have the power to become both producers and critics of the content that is being made across the world, having the power to have a say in the digital conversation in our media landscape. This is a rough draft of the script to create a video essay in regards of media conglomeration and its effects to the digital consumer. Elijah Pestana will get a compilation of within his various sources of visual content, audio aids, and examples of how media companies that have a large following and are media conglomerates affect the digital consumer, with in a majority negative ways.